pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to tonight's planning board meeting. Please be aware of the exits, which are to the left of this room. In the event of an emergency, please move in a calm and orderly fashion down the stairs and do not use the elevator. The meetings are recorded by the secretary for the purpose of a record and minutes, so please identify yourself each time you come to the podium and speak into the microphone. The board will follow the items in order as they appear on the agenda. There's only one item on the agenda tonight, and that you can find copies near the door. After the case has been called, the applicant and a representative shall come to the podium, identify him or herself, give his or her address, and then present their case. The planning board members will then have an opportunity to question the applicant. If the case is a public hearing, it will be open for public input, at which time anyone wishing to speak to the board regarding this application will come to the podium, identify themselves along with their address, and direct any questions to the board. Once all public input has been completed, the applicant or site representative will be given the opportunity to respond to any of the public input. Once all public input has been completed and all questions have been satisfied, the case will be closed to public input, and the board will then move on to a decision. No further input is allowed at that point. And with that, Michelle, will you please call the first and only case on the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on the agenda is case number PB 1812-1. Upon the matter of request by Land Tech Surveying and Planning PLLC, acting as agent for the estate of Carl Kova for subdivision approval to subdivide 1.5 acre parcel into 2 lots on premises 55 Oakmont Drive in an R2 residential district.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Sharaba with Land Tech, and I'm representing the Kova family this evening. As the public notice states, this is merely a subdivision approval that we're looking for. The Kova family has owned this property for many years, and at this time they want to subdivide the existing house off of the 1.5 acre property and create a new building lot for a new home. This is only one new lot. Original thoughts were that the fact that this is on the north end of Oakmont, that this is a cul-de-sac and that possibly we could build several homes at that location. But that, due to the steep slopes in that area, is really not economically viable to do so. So at this point, we're just asking for one lot to be subdivided. We've made application for site plan through the town planning process as well. But for purposes of this evening's meeting, it's merely a subdivision. So 1.5 acres, we're asking for the existing home to be on a lot that's 0.28 acres in size. The balance of that lot, as I said before, will be for the new home that we're proposing. Really, I know there's probably numerous questions the board wants to talk about as far as grading and drainage and things like that. I can answer those, but again, we're not looking for that tonight. So I really don't have any comments. We do have comments from the town engineer. A lot of those, as I mentioned, are regarding the site itself. But they do have 2 comments related to the plat map that we're discussing. One is they want bearings, not angles, to be shown on the plan. This subdivision process routes through the Monroe County Survey Department, Monroe County Real Property Department, and so we'll make sure it adheres to all those, as well as the comments from the town engineer. They also requested that the Monroe County subdivision checklist be submitted to them. That's not a normal thing, but we have no problem doing that. That checklist merely goes back to the Monroe County Survey Department. Those are the only comments that we have from Labella regarding the plat map. Monroe County DRC comments are minor in nature. Again, it relates more to the survey requirements that Monroe County monumentation be checked and that we submit to the Monroe County Survey Department. So basically, they're redundant comments by 2 different agencies. Other than that, the DRC comments are related to the site plan, and that's about it. So I know it's kind of a small project, and we're here just for this one thing, so I'll try to be brief, and I'll take any questions you have at this time.
Mr. Sharaba, I'm sorry, did you reference the letter that you got from the memo from Kerry?
I did not reference that. The interoffice memo from, okay, yes, I see that.
Anything you want to talk to on that?
Again, this is mostly related to the site plan itself. I don't have a problem speaking to those questions if you'd like me to, but again, I think this board is charged with just doing the subdivision portion. But I don't have any issues.
Want to make sure you got it.
Yep, I do have it, and we don't have any issues with what this represents.
With that, does anyone on the board have any questions?
I do have a question that I asked at workshop, and I said I would ask it again. It's a staff question. By approving this, we're approving the fact that they can go ahead and build a residential property, because a residential property would not come back in front of this board. It would be done ministerially. Is that my understanding?
Assuming that it can comply with the code. Assuming that it complies with the other provisions of the code, correct. It's a permitted use.
Okay, so any permitted use by approving it, by approving the subdivision would go ahead and trigger that review.
Well, they would have to submit for site plan, but it
No,
wouldn't
that
come
would-
before this board, I think is the question, right? It would be done by staff?
Just for a single-family home?
That part I understand. I understand that it will not come back before here. What I'm asking is, by my approving this, by this board approving this, we're saying that it's fine, that we think that that should happen. That trigger mechanism should happen.
That's not exactly what the approval is. I mean,
Is that the end result of the approval, I guess is my question.
Isn't the end result merely our saying that we approve a subdivision?
That's it.
Yes.
I understand
that's what I was
I
saying.
understand that that's what I'm being asked to do. I'm asking what the long-term result of that would be.
Well, the rest of
If I said no to that, or this board said no to that, what would happen?
well, this doesn't exactly answer your question, but in making your determination, you should look at the criteria under the town subdivision provisions. So, there's a lot of implications of subdividing property. It can be sold. You can build certain homes on the lot. You've created a buildable lot, but in making the determination, I don't think it's necessarily a proper consideration to say, well, what is the end result of whatever they could build?
No, that's okay. I guess when I asked my question at workshop, the director indicated that that would be the result, yes.
So
That-
they shared what their plans were. That's why I was asking questions around, because I wasn't at the workshop.
They did not. Is that your recollection?
Well, it's on the
It's on the site plan,
it's on the site plan, what
Yeah.
they're planning on doing.
it's on the site plan.
No,
of
I
the proposed
understand
house,
that. Yeah,
So it's not,
So I guess I should say this. You can't deny the subdivision because of what they could do with the property. They don't have to tell you what their plans are to actually develop the lot. The only question is, are they proposing to create a legal lot, and have they complied with all our procedural requirements? But they don't have to develop the property. They don't have to tell us what their plans are to do that. And so I don't think that that's necessarily a consideration for this approval.
So we're not saying that this is a legal building lot if we approve the subdivision?
You are saying that it's a legal
Okay,
building lot.
that's what my
Yes, that's
question
exactly
was.
what yes.
And if I can add, that's why Carrie asked the Labella Associates to ask, could a house be built here? And the answer was yes. And they, and also DPW suggested that if this is approved, make it site-specific for when they do choose a home. It has to be reviewed by our town engineer for the lot and for the specific house to make sure it all works right. And they would have to build a house according to what works well with the environment, not just what they want.
Great, thank you.
we will have to do seeker for this, right, though?
I didn't hear you.
For the
We'll have to do
subdivision, yes.
seeker, right? So, maybe, if you're looking at this from a seeker perspective, looking at the whole action, I mean, personally, I don't think that there's a problem with a house being built there, but I just to look at your perspective, from the seeker action, we know that there's additional proposals on this lot. We know that it's not too conceptual because it's put on the site plan. So the impact of the whole plan is going to be part of the environmental impact. So, I mean, that's also a consideration if you're looking at it from the seeker perspective, I believe.
And that's basically what I was.
No one's stopping me, so I guess that was true.
Was your question whether you can consider what the environmental ramifications of the,
Of the house, because that's the full, we know that it's not too conceptual because it's marked on the site plan as the next thing that's gonna happen. It's the full, what is I don't know, there's a term that they use, it's like the whole impact is, I guess, but there's a,
sure, yeah, they have a term for sort of the opposite, which is called segmentation. You don't want to look at it, you know, as each phase of the project. You want to look at all of the environmental impacts from what's being proposed. And so, you know,
so if you were concerned about the environmental impact of the future house, then you could look at it from the area of the seeker.
yes.
It is addressed in the part 3, briefly.
So, I think it's okay, but I'm just trying to illustrate Alan's point.
Yeah. I just want to go back to, Labella did have a comment on question 20, which was a remediation question. You guys have checked yes on there?
Well, that's the seeker form. That's a self-filling form by the state. So that issue, we are aware of it, and I believe it's the historic landfill associated with the Haramis Plaza area. Also, anytime you're next to a rail, which the former railroad is behind us, those always get triggered as well. So I don't think this action is going to be any impact to that situation.
And then on question 8, this is no big deal one way or another, but I would think that C would be yes, part C on question 8.
I don't have the seeker form in front of me, but
Oh, it asks about pedestrian accommodations and bicycle routes available near. You guys have checked no, but you checked yes to public transportation. I can tell you there's a sidewalk a lot closer than there is a bus route.
yeah. No,
Okay.
you're probably correct on that.
All right. And then
So I'm sorry, Alan, which one on 8 is incorrect?
8C,
8C?
I mean, it's no big deal. Probably nobody paid really attention to it. I have been to the site twice. There's a bog back there on the north part of the property. Do we know where that water's coming from?
Well, it's coming from all the development surrounding it. So we have Oakmont, you have the street to the west and the street to the east, and you have a rail line that used to be there that's not maintained anymore. So I believe the water's trying to flow from east to west along the south side edge of that old rail, and it's clogged with trees and brush and debris left there from normal residential development. So that's my theory. I think the fact that we're leaving almost an acre of that land undisturbed, I really don't think it's going to negatively impact the proposed house construction in the future. So I think it's probably going to remain the same. Generally wet back there in the spring and the winter, and probably dries out in the summer. But I don't see we're not going to contribute a lot of drainage, more drainage to that. Oakmont itself, if you look at the site plan we provided, there's a 12-inch storm sewer that drains the whole road right into that area. So that's really what we're dealing with.
So that's what's going in there?
Yeah.
All right. It's a storm sewer.
Yep.
All right. I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I do. Can I add one more thing to my presentation? Labella's comments did ask for a couple of easements to be noted, so that has been cleaned up on the plan. There's a sanitary sewer that runs along the north property line. And also, Bob Kiley informed me that the existing home and the adjacent home on the west side of Oakmont, there's a 4-inch lateral that runs along our west property line that the town maintains, but no one really knew about it until about 2 weeks ago. So what we're providing is not only to our lot, but also the lot south of us is a easement to the town of Arundecoit, so that those laterals continue to be there and be maintained by the town. So there's other changes to the plat that I failed to mention.
both of us are looking. Anybody got any other questions, including the applicant?
I think I'm good.
With that, if you don't mind having a seat, I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Please come to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Colleen Morse, and I live at 45 Oakmont, the property just right next to the resident that you're talking about. My only concern was, last week, they did come to us and said they weren't even aware that we were on a sewer system. So my concern, and I did talk with this gentleman, is, are we protected? You know, because they still had us not even hooked up on the town plan. So I just wanted to make sure, and they did go in our backyard, and I don't know the result of what happened with that. But if the easement is there and we're protected with that sewer line, I think they still had us on a septic system.
When you said they went in the backyard, I'm sorry, could you clarify?
The town of Arundecoit approached our house last week and was not aware that we were even in a sewer. They had us on a septic system. So both our home and the Kovas home are hooked in together on this one sewer line. And I was surprised the town of Arundecoit didn't have it. So I just want to make sure our property's protected when they start new construction, that how our lines are tied in is not going to affect what's going to happen with the construction of a new home there. And has the town updated that record? And is our property safe in that?
So I'm going to defer the question to the staff unless you want the applicant to respond first.
That's part of the Department of Public Works.
Okay.
And I would check with Ann Doler
Okay.
in regards to those questions that you do have regarding the sewer.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So I guess I would object at this point in time, if I don't know that our property is protected with a sewer, that it's a sewer line, and that the town of Arundecoit is on board with that. Making sure that they're not looking at us as a septic, and if they start building and interfering with our sewer line, it wouldn't happen.
It's beyond the 55, the lot 55 is where the house is going to be.
Right.
Proposed.
But our sewer line runs back through there and connects down, is my understanding. So I just... Okay. We don't know how it turned out. We just were approached at the end of last week saying they weren't even aware that we were on a sewer line. So we haven't...
Where I would call the DPW.
Okay. Okay. But I won't have that information for tonight. I can call, but if I have an objection, I need to state that tonight, correct? Yes. Okay.
You can say anything you want, yes.
Okay, so I'm objecting until I get more information on the sewer line to make sure that the town of Arundecoit has us properly protected if a new house goes in there.
And once again, what's the address?
I'm at 45 Oakmont Drive, Colleen and David Morse,
Should just be south of the property.
right? We're one house south of the existing property.
Oh, I
and
see,
then it would
yes.
be two.
So you're left of the current house.
Correct, right. And as I understood it from Mr. Kova, when we bought our home, he was very quick to come over and say, however they tied it in back then, that we were responsible for a certain amount, and then the Kovas were responsible for wherever it went into their property. I guess I was assuming that the town of Arundecoit knew all about this, but evidently they didn't. So I don't know when this was all done. We've been in our house 11 years. And I'm not sure how this all happened, but there's only, to my knowledge, only the two of us on this sewer line. The house next to us on the other side is on a different sewer line. So it's only the two of us that are on this sewer line.
Okay, so I've I remember Mr. Kiley, who was Commissioner of Public Works, mentioning the town is aware of the sewer line between 45 and 55 Oakmont.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So I still need to call, I would still need to call then and,
If you have any reservations about it, yes, but they are aware of it, and it was,
Okay.
I believe, back in 1965, the connection was made.
okay, okay,
Only two is on the line.
correct. The
Right.
two houses. But then
Right.
this third one would be on the line as well?
No,
That would be on a separate line?
separate line.
Okay.
John could show
Okay, we did, kind of, I wasn't sure where the
So,
third,
yeah, so
I wasn't
please,
sure where the
yeah,
third
please
one went.
address the board. So what, if you have any other concerns, though, now's the time to bring them up, because what we'll do is have you sit down and have the applicant respond to the question.
Okay, me, okay.
No, but you don't have to. I want you to make sure you get
No,
everything
no,
out.
that's okay. I just want to make sure we were protected with the sewer
Yeah.
lines, that
Yep,
no
he's-
building would interfere with our line.
No,
Okay.
he's messaging me right now for 45 and 55 is fine, and the new proposed house will be connected on their own.
Don't go far away because they'll show you.
Oh, okay.
So is there anybody else who would like to address the board? I don't see anybody, so would the applicant like to please respond to the questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I spoke with Mrs. Morris briefly prior to the meeting. So let's just take a step back. At the north end of Oakmont, at the north end of the cul-de-sac, there is an 8-inch sanitary sewer main that runs south and adjacent to the old railroad. That is the main sewer line. I believe it's an 8-inch main that runs, pass that down.
It's huge.
It's a big,
You can
that takes
see it.
basically St. Paul Boulevard, everything, all the streets, Eaton, everything kind of feeds its way to that main. And as Michelle mentioned, back in 65, I believe, there was two 4-inch lines that tapped that main. One came up to the house, the Cova zone, and then another one came up to 45. So there's two 4-inch laterals that connect to the main. Like Runniquoit is an old town, and as these towns develop and the GIS system and the records, that some of these things are missed. So I think that's what is the issue. So that they are there, they are existing. DPW went out and checked it. And so, as I mentioned on the subdivision plan, we're going to protect those neighbors with creating an easement to the town of Arundequoit. So those 4-inch laterals that are outside of any construction we're proposing can still be maintained by the town of Arundequoit. So there's really no impact. As it functions today, it's going to function tomorrow and in the future. The new house that we're proposing is going to have its own lateral tap to that main that I described before. So I don't see the Morris as being negatively impacted by, number one, the subdivision, and number two, the future sewer tap, because they already have a sewer tap. They are not on a leach field, and I think everything should go as it goes, status quo. So I hope that I know they probably don't want to rely on me for those answers. I think they should call Bob Kiley, because I got that same information from Mr. Kiley. So I think hopefully that clarifies for the board what's going on.
Protects that.
Clarifies it for me. Does anybody have a question on any of that?
You're going to run an independent line to the north, so it'll just be south of Wisteria. You'll be tying into that lateral. That east and west.
The main is on the south side of the road. Wisteria stays north of the old railroad.
Yep.
Yep.
That line, though, runs
Yep.
south of
Correct.
Wisteria. Got it.
Do you have another copy of that to show the person that asked the question? Or
I could definitely show it to her. We can make another copy. I got that from Bob. So I don't have a problem showing that to her after the meeting.
as long as the applicant's up there, is there any other questions from the board? I think we're set.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, is there someone who would like to address seeker?
Mr. Chair, you need to close the public hearing.
Oh, excuse me, thank you. Close the public hearing. There's no more questions for the applicant.
Where's part 3?
Is somebody like to make a motion on seeker?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, hang on. It's in the other stuff.
Is this a question or?
No, we're just.
No, I just didn't see part 3. It was sitting on the desk.
So you are gonna, if you're gonna make the motion,
I got it.
somebody gonna address question 8 should be corrected?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's self-reported. I assume the,
So it was brought up, I
applicant-
just want to address it. No? You said on question number 8, question C should be a yes, not a no. On part.
Part one, on the EAF, I don't really think it's significant.
I don't,
Well, you brought it up. If you hadn't brought it up, I wouldn't have,
Well, and I only brought it up because he checked yes to the bus, and there's no bus any closer than a sidewalk is. So I didn't understand why he was saying yes to a bus,
he
but
was,
no.
he was willing to have it changed, so.
Yeah,
And you guys don't have to accept their answers anyways.
right.
You don't agree.
If you brought it up, let's address it.
Well, they wouldn't have to, they don't
I don't
have
know
to
that we
resubmit
have to
anything, do
change
they?
anything.
No.
It's
No,
just-
then we're
I
not
don't-
changing anything, just,
No, I'm not.
we know that there's a
There is
walking route there
there's
and a
sidewalk, there's
bus, so.
Therefore, there's bike. It only makes things better.
All right,
Doesn't change my opinion.
Here, this one's my favorite.
Yeah, so-
Will you accept the motion, Mr.
yes,
Chair?
please.
Okay. Pertaining to case number PB 1812-1, upon the matter of request by Land Tech Surveying and Planning, PLLC, acting as agent for the estate of Carl Kova for subdivision approval to subdivide a 1.5 acre parcel into 2 lots on premises 55 Oakmount Drive in an R2 residential district. I suggest that we declare this a unlisted action negative declaration.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 That's 6 ayes, no nay, and 1 absence. No abstain,
Mary's absent.
1 absent. Yep. Need a second? Would somebody like to make a motion?
Upon the matter of request by Atlantic Surveying and Planning, PLLC, acting as agent for the estate of Carl Kova for subdivision approval to subdivide 1.5 acre parcel into 2 lots on premises 55 Oakmont Drive in an R2 residential district, I move that we approve as submitted.
I would like to add that we have it reviewed by the town engineer as requested by the Commissioner of Public Works. Any future development be reviewed by the town engineer.
So noted.
And I think we should add that the 2 easements be officially added to the recorded plat. One's existing and one is new.
That is subject to approval by Monroe County.
I think that's normal, but okay.
I'm sorry, Spencer, what was yours?
Sorry.
That the 2 easements that were discussed, one's an existing easement that just isn't shown for the 8-inch storm sewer, be shown on the official plat map, and that the new easement to the town of Arundecoit for the existing sewer line that services 45 and 55 be added to the official plat map.
Just as a point of clarification, that first easement is a 8-inch sanitary sewer.
Or, I'm sorry,
Right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, correct,
Just-
thank you, yep. Yep.
So did you say one's on there? I'm sorry, so you said add 2.
So neither of them are currently
That's
on
what
the
I thought.
drawing, they just need to be added. One is
Right.
existing and one is new for the neighbors.
And there could be a new map that we just.
Correct, I think there is.
Okay. So I captured those 3. Is there any others? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. one, no abstains, one absent. With that, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.
As well.
The other item, there's no other items for the agenda, correct?
Minutes?
Minutes?
I did make one correction earlier with Michelle. On the last page, it should say to act instead of just act, correct? Isn't that what we,
Correct.
yeah. So, under seeker lead agency consent.
So you're making the first motion to approve with that correction?
I can, yeah, as corrected, I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? No abstain, one absent. With that, take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
On the wishes of everyone to have a great and fruitful, happy holiday and a successful new year, I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that. Happy holidays.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Irondequoit Planning Board on ICAT Government Access. We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Irondequoit Planning Board on ICAT Government Access.